We always play off meta here on the channel, it feels like, but today we're going to be taking on probably the best deck in the format, next to blue-purple Luffy, green Zoro, green-purple Luffy, I already said blue-purple. There's just a bunch of good decks. There's like top 5 right now. Silver's Rayleigh, and you got Bonney. That's going to be in the top 5, so we're playing a top 5 deck. I'd personally say probably the best deck. I think it's one of the best decks at least. I think this is easily number 2. If you want to take blue-purple as still being the best, I understand. But for me, I think Bonney is just super amazing as long as you're a good pilot. I used to think this deck was just simple, and you could just pilot it how you need. But now that we have more complicated play lines and cards like this new Jewelry Bonney, and setting up cards like Mihawk, we're not just an 8-cost kid deck, I do find this deck to be a little more competitive, and I find it to be a lot less repetitive. Because back in the day, you used to just drop kid, play Hody, win. And it doesn't feel that way anymore, so it's actually really strong. And this is actually a list from Raphos, and it was in a local regional or recent regional recently. How many times can I say recent? One sentence. So this is green Bonney from OP12.5 with a PRBO2 support. But before we get far into the deck profile, I gotta bring up one thing. If you guys want to see an awesome grade reveal video for One Piece, you need to comment down below and subscribe. I have a huge submission going out here soon. So if you guys want to learn how to grade One Piece cards, I need you to comment down below so I know to make that a video for you guys if you want to learn how to grade your big hitters. I want to teach you guys how to do a PSA membership, do all those things, but I need to know that you're interested because obviously we're sending out big hitters like a gold SP Luffy, a silver SP Luffy, a Trafalgar Law manga, Bonney manga, a Teach Silver. I'm just flexing on you guys, it feels like. So if you want to see me send these off to PSA and you want to learn how to send your cards off to PSA, I will make that video for you. These are all going to PSA. I have a Beckett video in the works as well if you want to see Beckett, but they're going to be their own videos because they're slightly different but very similar. So anyways, if you want to see that, let me know. Now let's get into that deck profile. And here we go. This is Bonney. When opponent attacks once per turn, rest 1 Dawn, rest up to one of your opponent's rest or leaders or characters. So basically we just get to nullify an attack. This deck is a great performer into many matchups it feels like currently, and it's been great since OP07, where you got new support in the Jewelry Bonney here. I removed the leader so you can see the entire deck profile in case you're wondering where the leader just went. So we're going to be playing new cards like Jewelry Bonney here. We're playing this as a 3 of. You could bump this up into a 4 of and I would not be upset. This card is just that strong. It's a blocker, and then on your opponent's attack set, one of your Dawn is active. So we can actually play this on a 3 Dawn turn playing on curve, because then when they attack us, we get to restand a Dawn, then use our leader ability. Usually early in the game, you actually don't need this, but going and ramping into, or when we get into a later turn, say we're getting to our 9-cost turn, it felt horrible playing Shanks, especially if you didn't have a way to restand Dawn to then use your leader ability. But now if we hold our Bonney until late game, we can continue to play on curve, and that's what Bonney does best. Allowing us to play on curve is super important, especially in a low removal format or having anti-removal here in the Tashigi, which just saves green characters from being KO'd. This card can be very strong, especially when you don't find your Cavendish. Cavendish gets restands 2 Dawn on attack or on play, so it helps us play off of curve. You know, you can set up a little more. With this though, the Bonney is just the savior when you don't have Cavendish or your opponent removes Cavendish. If you don't find your anti-removal in Koshiro, which stops a 5-cost lower / attribute character from being KO'd specifically, you may instead rest this card. It's also a blocker, but these cards can usually save your Cavendish, but sometimes you either don't find the anti-removal or you just don't find the Cavendish. So then we get to use Jewelry Bonney as our support rather than using Yarouge. Yarouge is basically just dropped off the face of the earth because this card is just Yarouge but better. In my opinion, it's only a 3 Dawn play. It does exactly what we need. Yarouge was sometimes an attacking body, but also Bonney can be for only additional 2 Dawn attached to it. So personally, I'm actually really vibing with the new Bonney. We're also using the new Zoro. This card is good into other green matchups like mirror matches or going into the Zoro. It just says if this card be rested by one of your opponent's effect, you may instead rest one of your other characters instead. It can be used as an attacking body as well. It's a 2k counter, it's a blocker, it does all of the things that we need against specifically green matchups. So usually it's just a 2k counter, but in certain matches you can use this to save your life. We also just play a lot of blockers in this deck in total. We are playing Pedro as a blocker. This is an interesting little tech option that we found. We actually did use this in a couple of games, so I'm excited to show that off. Rest up to one of your opponent's Dawn, so you can take them off of curve if they do things incorrectly, forcing your opponent to play characters out first, meaning we can then rest them out, or we can just KO one of their 6-cost or lower rested characters. So my idea here with Pedro is it forces your opponent to play off of curve by resting that one Dawn. I actually find resting the one Dawn to be one of the stronger effects of Pedro. So let's say we're going into a red matchup like Shanks, and then they attack in. We get to rest their, on the 6th Dawn turn, we get to rest one of their Dawns, stopping them from playing the PRB Trafalgar Law, and that's going to be very strong. Now they're completely off curve. They have to play a 5 cost, and that's not what Shanks likes to do. So we like to use Pedro as soon as possible, because then if they play things out of order, say they play the Trafalgar Law first, then they attack with a leader, well, we just keep Pedro, we get to use leader effect and rest that Trafalgar Law, and then we get to play Carrot and freeze down Trafalgar Law, completely nullifying its effect. So either you take your opponent off curve, or when you have Carrot to follow up, we're able to rest down that character and then freeze it down, because it freezes a 7 cost or lower as rested. That's on play and when attacking. So pairing the two is actually really strong and underutilized, I think. So I think them using this, Raphos using this, I believe it's Raphos is what we're going to go with. It's either Raphos or it's Raphos. We're going to say Raphos because that's easier. But just using this, I actually find to be very strong and interesting. I have personally enjoyed it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's great in certain situations. It's bad in certain situations. So maybe as a 2 of rather than a 3 of, but sometimes when you find it, it is just really good, stopping your opponent from playing on curve. We have Koshiro here. This is the blocker that we already talked about, and then saves your 5 cost / attribute characters, which is mainly just Pedro, Zoro, Cavendish, and X-Drake. Not the greatest targets, to be honest, but it does help, especially in the Cavendish turn, because now with the Bonney on 3 Dawn, we can play down Bonney, and then we can play down Cavendish on the next turn, right? Now we restand 2 Dawn. Now we play out Koshiro to save our Cavendish from being KO'd specifically. Remember, it can be trashed, bottom decked, or removed in other options or other ways. Tashigi helps with those kind of decks, like going against blue. But for KO specifically, Koshiro's the guy. Then we can play out Koshiro. Then when our opponent attacks us, we get to restand the Dom and still use our leader effect. So even though we're tapped all the way out, the Bonney is clutch in that specific situation. So 3 Dawn, 5 Dawn, then we get our 2 Dawn back. Then we get to restand the Dawn and still use leader effect. Then we can play Hody Jones on the next turn and swing in aggressively. It's absolutely crazy that what the first curve can really do nowadays in this deck. We have the top 5 Searcher and Jewelry Bonney that rests itself, looks for a Supernova. Supernovas are obviously a lot of them in this deck. We have the Bonney here. Zoro is a Supernova. Cavendish is a Supernova. 8 cost Kid is a Supernova. X-Drake's a Supernova. And the Jewelry Bonney 5 cost is also Supernova searchable. This is basically in there just to draw 2 trash when it filters through the deck in a deck that really bricks up a lot. So having filter in a deck is actually really strong. I used to crap on this card so much. I thought this card was god awful. Why would anybody play this? And then playing this deck today, I was like, holy cow, this card is clutch. Being able to restand the 1 Dawn when you don't have the other Bonney is also really strong. Not playing into certain lines because I didn't even realize we had the extra Dawn. Dude, this card, above and beyond what I thought it was actually going to do. I really enjoyed Bonney. I think you'll see in today's games that specifically this card does a lot more work than you'd expect. It's also a blocker and a 5 cost 6k. So we can block out of attack, counter, and then rest down a different character with our leader effect. Running X-Drake as a searchable 2k, rest one of your opponent's 5 costs, then set 1 Dawn as active at the end of your turn. So again, another way to set a Dawn at the end of our turn to then utilize our leader ability. Hody Jones to rest 2 characters or Dawn on our opponent's board. You can do 1 character, 1 Dawn, 2 characters, whatever you need to do in the situation. It also has Rush. It also forces you to add the top of your life into your hand. So in certain situations, you do want to counter out a little more aggressively, especially when you know you're going into Hody Jones. And in certain matchups, you just want to Hody Jones and keep taking life aggressively. It really just depends on what you're going against. Hody Jones, P all of the time. 8 cost Kid is amazing because red is kind of low on the totem pole right now other than Silver's Rayleigh. And even Silver's Rayleigh cannot always get over Kid without having Gum Gum Mole Gun, which is searchable in the deck, but they just don't always have it. This card just forces your opponent to only attack this card specifically, and then it has the activate main to rest itself and play a 3 cost out. So we can actually play Kid and cheat out like Tashigi for anti-removal. We can cheat out Koshiro for anti-removal. If we play Kid on curve and then somehow have the 1 extra Dawn attached to him, if we play him on a 9 Dawn turn, we can actually cheat out Bonney and then restand a Dawn to then use our leader effect because we can cheat out the Bonney because it's a 3 cost. They purposely paired these two to be a 3 cost and an 8 cost so that you can cheat it out with Kid on the first turn you play it. That combo is absolutely absurd. And NP in a lot of matchups, failure in a lot of others. So either it's discard fodder, 0 cost fodder, which just discards it, makes it a 3k counter. It really depends on the match, but a lot of times you can still utilize Kid even in the current format. You have 8 cost Mihawk here, set 4 of your Dawn is active, then you cannot play 7 cost or higher characters. You can pair this with Cavendish. So if we have Cavendish out and then we go into a Mihawk, we restand 4 Dawn, swing with Cavendish, restand 2 more Dawn. Now we have 6 more Dawn. No, we cannot play a 7 cost Hody Jones, but guess what? We can play Bonney, draw 2 trash one. We can play Carrot, we get to freeze down a character. We can play a blocker and a blocker. We can play a blocker and swing bigger with our leader. We have so many options here with Mihawk, and I find it to be very strong. Running 3 of the 9 cost Shanks. This card is actually one of my least favorite cards in the deck every single time I play. I feel like I don't get a lot of value. We did get value in one game today, but I just don't love Shanks. I don't know if it's just me and my playstyle, but personally, I'm almost tempted to drop this down by 1, because sometimes KOing your opponent's rested character is good. In a lot of matches right now, it doesn't feel like it's that great, and I think going into the next set, I don't know how great it's going to be either, especially because of Emu. It's going to be really good into decks like Ace when we can rest down their big blockers because they want to put out the blockers, then get the 2 Dawn. So that's when this card's going to be an MVP. It's specifically the red and blue Ace matchup in OP13, but right now, I'm not loving it. It was good. It wasn't great. It was good in the matches you need it, but when you don't need it, it's not good. It's just not searchable, so you have to run it as a 3 of to see it in those matches you need it, because if you only run it as a 1 or 2 of, you're not going to find it in the matches you actually need it, and when you find it in the matches you don't, it just feels bad. So personally, I understand why we run it as a 3 of, but it's just not searchable in the deck. That's kind of why. Running 3 of the Don Quixote do Flamingos, this is another MVP. This is your blue-purple Luffy Destroyer, resting or freezing down 3 of their rested characters or leaders. This helps into red Rayleigh, this helps into blue-purple Luffy, this helps into, can even help into Zoro, freezing down their leader. This card is amazing just because it does freeze down the leader, and I love that effect oh so much. Now, I will talk about another card that you could add in if you really think you're having bad matchups into Zoro or anything that has a very strong leader. You could run the Arlong, which people have ran in a lot of other decks, and I'm almost down to test at some point. That's going to be this Arlong right here. Discard 1 card from your hand up to one of your rested leaders may not, one of your opponent's rested leaders may not attack until the start of their next turn, so it just stops your leader from attacking altogether. I don't hate this card, it just is another brick, so we'd have to drop a Shanks or something to run an Arlong. I'm almost down to test that in the future. Maybe we go with a more Fishman, Supernova, Bonney package, see if that could make something happen. This Arlong's not as good in the deck, but I think this card could have a place if you're having issues with those specific matchups. I don't find them personally. I don't have issues with those. We can nuke them, it feels like. So personally, I think this card is it's good. It's an option. I just want to give you another option in case you don't have 10 cost Dofi. But anyways, that's going to be the Bonney list we have here today. I'm excited to play Bonney for you guys. I think we cooked today, so I hope you enjoy as always. Subscribe. We just hit 3K subs, so I appreciate it so much. I have a vendor POV actually going out from setting up at a card show this Friday, so I'm going to teach you guys everything about One Piece, it feels like nowadays. We're going to be doing deck profiles. I'm going to be doing vendor POVs. We actually just had a short go up about vendor POV stuff and teaching you guys buy, sell, trade at card shows specifically, as card shows are popping off with One Piece, it feels like recently. So check out your local card shows, palcardshows.com if you're in North Carolina or in the surrounding areas. You want to come check out my card shows that I run. I appreciate your time. Let's get straight into some games. We're gonna start game 1 against Shanks here. Of course, always taking the first attack. They're already on a 3-Dawn turn. We played out Koshiro early and then pass over to our opponent. I'm thinking we go Pedro, man. We're gonna test out that Pedro as soon as possible. Not even gonna worry about swinging 5. It doesn't do anything. We're gonna pass, and we'll keep the Pedro here. And gives us something to KO a character if we need to KO characters and remove board. I don't think that's really gonna be an option for us here. But we actually have some decent options here altogether. Pedro can also be an attacker to put on some aggression into Shanks that can't really be removed, because on KO, it KOs one of their characters or gets rid of their Dawn. So we can take them off curve if need be. We are going to swing with this because they are going into a 7-Dawn turn, so Beckman is going to be strong. Beckman's going to be very live, actually. So we're going to take, I think we just take a 7 as well. I don't think I'm worried about getting out of something like that. I'm a greedy player, though. So we took a 5, we take a 7. They're going to swing 6 at us. We're going to go ahead and 2K out. I think we're going to keep the board as much as we can, especially keeping Koshiro for sure. So we'll go ahead and 2K out of this attack. Might as well while we can. Then they're going to tap 3 for another freaking Sanji. That's absolutely absurd here. We're going to go Cavendish because Cavendish is saved by Koshiro. So we'll go 5 into Sanji. Just go ahead and remove it off the board. And then Cavendish, restand 2. And then, yes, we tapped out early on the last turn. Don't worry about that. I think we're just going to swing in for 7 with the Pedro here to put on some pressure on the face. Because Pedro can't be KO'd because of Koshiro, and Cavendish can't be KO'd thanks to Koshiro. So they're going to minus 1,000, then give us a 2K counter, and we're going to pass. We leave one Dawn active this turn. We didn't really have a good play to leave a Dawn active on the last turn, so we kind of got out of the way, even though they did have 2 attacks. I wasn't really stressed about 2 attacks. I'm actually fine in this matchup, especially taking as aggressively as possible. Then this next turn, we can go Mihawk, Cavendish into Carrot, or into Bonney, and then draw 2 trash, 1 filter through, but I think we kind of hand pretty set, so I don't know that we'll need that. Beckman is here. This doesn't help if they go with the Beckman, per se. Now, they're going to swing into our character. We're going to rest down the Shanks and actually 6 Dawn. We're actually going to go ahead and pop we're going to rest one of their Dawn here. No blocker. We're going to resolve the attack and then rest one of our opponent's Dawn. So now they have to play a 5 cost. They can't play down the 6 cost attacking Trafalgar Law. We're basically just taking them off curve due to how they decided to play that. So We were able to rest their Dawn. We can easily swing into the Sanji. We don't have to attack, like attack into it. That's perfectly fine. Now they play Monet. Dude, that just tells me you're down bad, right? So we're gonna go Mihawk, restand 4 Dawn. We're gonna swing, what, 6 in a lead here, because we get to restand 2 more Dawn. And then we're gonna go 5 into Sanji and then Bonney. Do we ever Bonney here, or would we rather Carrot? Because I don't really care about freezing down Sanji, and Carrot's not gonna do much later in the game. Do we ever want to just attack it and then draw 2, trash 1 instead to get more blockers? 5, 6, 7, 8. That would be 8 rested cards already, so we don't have to attack it. Let's attack into Sanji and see what he decides to do, because he could minus 1,000 power and then counter out. If that's what he decides to do, we'll go with Carrot. If that's not what he decides to do, we're going to go with Bonney, draw 2, trash 1 of the other Bonnies more than likely. So we're going to give him the opportunity to get out of it, and he does. So now we just play the Carrot and totally just switch what we were going to do, and then pass to our opponent. So we still have Draco Mihawk, we still have Koshiro, we have a Dawn active, we have plenty of options. Now, the 1 Dawn active doesn't do much on a 9 Dawn turning in Shanks because they only have Monet. They have to play a character, then Monet, which is nice for us because they need rested Dawn to get to the leader. They can just give a character minus 1,000 power without getting the rested Dawn, but that's not great value. And we can easily clear these bodies, like get them off the board. So they go Marco, pop Koshiro, and then I'm assuming it's going to be Monet, and they're going to minus down Cavendish by 1. They're going to minus down Mihawk by 1, and then they're going to swing pretty big into Cavendish, and we're probably just going to let Cavendish go at that point. I don't think there's really a purpose into saving it. Then we could tap all out. Oh, but having that 10 cost Doflamingo pretty soon, it's going to be kind of clutch. Ooh, they don't. Maybe they're just going to go, like, into it. Who knows? We can rest down the Marco. I'm not, because they're going to rest down their own Monet, so we can just rest down the Marco and then freeze it with Carrot and attack into these Sanjis. Well, this Sanji here. And then attack into the Monets as well. So they're going to minus 1,000 to the Mihawk. They're going to minus 1,000 to the Mihawk, making it a 6k. And then they're going to swing 10 into the Cavendish. We're going to rest down the Marco. Would we ever block to save it? Because we can always play more Mihawks, but we don't have more Cavendishes. So actually, I like getting back Dawn, especially with the wide board that they've arranged here. Because we can start just going aggro into face and kind of board with the 10 cost Flamingo. We're actually going to block here. That might seem crazy, but I don't hate it per se. Because now we can go Mihawk, restand 4 into Bonney, restand 1 into Koshiro, restand 2 with Cavendish. Like, we have all of these options here, so we can easily just play another one of these, restand 4. We could go Tashigi to save our characters from being KO'd. We have a lot of options, actually. 5, and then 1, 2, 3, but then we tap all the way out. Oh, but Bonney restands 1. Oh, my Lanta. You're not ready for this. Watch. Swing into a Monet. We're going to remove the Monets before we remove anything else. Carrot's going to freeze down Marco. We're just going to take control of this whole entire board here. This is absolutely absurd. Because then we can Bonney, right? So now we're going to go ahead and Bonney. Draw 2, trash 1. I don't think we're going to need Kid in this match because they minus our power so much. And then we get to restand to Dawn. We get to swing 6 with Cavendish, restand 2 Dawn. Then we can still play out Koshiro or Tashigi, which I think I'm going to go with the Tashigi here to save the Carrot and our other characters, because that's going to save the whole board instead of just one thing. Granted, this is a blocker as well, so it could save from a big attack. But I don't think I'm worried about a big attack. We're going to go 6 into Monet. We're going to go 6 into Monet, freeze down the Marco. And I don't think we're going to worry about the Sanji at the moment, because we will have the Tashigi. Do we ever keep Tashigi, or do we go Koshiro? Thinking about 2k here. It seems like they're thinking about 2k. If they're doing that to save Monet, I really don't care. I really don't care at that point. What does a Shanks do in this situation? What does a Shanks do in this situation? They've already used their leader effect on our leader to save their character. I guess we could have put 1 Dawn on leader and swung 6, technically, because then we could go Koshiro. But I just think that Tashigi's better. Saved us against every single removal option. Now they can minus on our board and swing a lot. They can minus 3k, 2k, KO. No, they'd have to minus 2k on the Tashigi. No, Monet the Tashigi. No, because they'd have to Monet after they play the Rayleigh. The order of operations for Monet is not great. I'm not loving what they're doing here. We are gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go with Koshiro. I think I am gonna go with Koshiro. I'm totally going to switch up. We're going to freeze down the Marco. You can freeze down Sanji or Marco in this situation. It doesn't really matter. Just choose not to freeze down the smaller characters because you can get a trigger out of life to do something to them. But I don't think in this situation it ever matters. They can't get out of this anyway, so you just let this go. And we play a blocker on the board and pass. So the blocker's going to save Cavendish and Mihawk. It's not going to save Carrot or Bonney here. but we're sitting on triple blocker. So I don't hate it. I'm not saying it's the best option. I think Tashigi could have been better, but to guarantee the removal on the Monet, I think that was some value there. I'm not going to say it was like the most value. I'm not going to say that was the best play ever, but I think it can go really either way. I guess we just don't know until the turn happens. Because like I said, they can minus 3k, minus 2k KO Koshiro, and then they can swing 5, 7, 7. So they'd go 5 into 3. We would block, and then 7 we would block 2k, and then 7 we would just have to let go because they pop our Koshiro if they play Rayleigh. If they play 10 cost Rush, it would only be 5 1k, 6 2k, 6 2k or block, and then 12 block. Not the worst. Then we could 10 cost Flamingo and hide behind the Cavendish. So that tells me that they're going to Silver's Rayleigh, but they should Rayleigh first, right? They're just going to swing 8. We're going to use the card action. They want to remove the carrot here. We're going to go ahead and rest down the Sanji. Do we 2k, 1k, or do we just block 1k? I think we just block and 1k out of that. I think that's the best option because we can always save the big body now. They play the big Shanks. Now they can swing 8 again into carrot. I don't think we're ever worried about this big Shanks here. So now we're just going to block out with Bonney. It would be nice to have the Bonney for attacking later on, but Koshiro helping with removal is really strong here, so we're going to block out with the Bonney. And then we will 10 cost, of course. So we're going to hit the 10 cost. That means we'll have 5, 6, 7, 6, 7. I guess we just play this and freeze the whole board. So we have to swing 6 into, I mean, it doesn't really matter. We'll swing the 6 into Marco and freeze the Sanji. In case they want to counter it, they probably just leader effect, which would be the smartest play. But yep, they just leader effect. Then we tap out, freeze, freeze, freeze. Do we ever swing this? Because they only have one body on the board. So I don't think we actually ever need the extra Dawn here. Because our leader effect is null and void at this point. So there's actually no purpose in swinging the Cavendish to potentially lose it. Because then they go rush, rush, and we have to lose both our blockers. That would really hurt. So we actually just pass here. Because if they have a rush option, they would just play the rush option, right? So the rush option would just come out, and then it would attack. So they'd attack Shanks, and then they would play the rush after, and then attack with the rush. So it doesn't change anything for us. Like, you could have rested down Law potentially, but that's also not guaranteed. So I think how we played that was the correct way. Now we can start swinging into the board again, and then we can play down Tashigi, but that doesn't really help against Law, because Law is going to minus 2k. We can always stop the Law if we leave the Shanks on the board, because they always want to swing the Shanks first, then we rest the Law. It really depends on what we top deck, I guess. I really think it just depends on what we top deck. We are going to give up the Koshiro here. Like, if I swing 10 into face, we might take that. But I think I'm always going to give up the Koshiro no matter what, because we have an entire full board. So they're just going to swing all out in the carrot. Seems like the right play to me. Just going to block out of that with Koshiro. Not going to give up the Mihawk at all. We can actually use the Mihawk as an attacker now. We need 8 rested cards, so we can then restand a Dawn as well. So that's only going to be 5 Dawn. That'll restand 1 by itself. That's 5 Dawn we rest. So we need to have 3 rested characters. So we need to remove the Marco first. Do we ever even worry about these Sanjis? I think so. Do we ever need a blocker here? I don't think so. We're going to go 8 into 6. I don't think we need the blocker this turn. I'm going to save the 6s for face, but we want to remove the Marco. If they trash an event to save it, we just attack back into it. I don't mind. As long as I'm getting cards out of hand, it doesn't matter. Because we can remove every character on their board. We just need to remove 1 Sanji and 1 Marco, and then freeze the other Sanji. Then we play out a blocker. So they let the Marco go. Not worried about it then. We're going to go 8. No. We're just going to go 6 in a Sanji, freezing the other Sanji. They get to draw a card here. Then we're going to go, depending on what we draw, I guess. This will give us 8 rested cards, though. We're going to go 8 in the face. Then we're going to tap the 5 for the Bonney. Draw 2. It's going to be good for later. I think we actually drop the... Well, we don't need 2 Tashigis, that's for sure. And then restand a Dawn. Now we swing 8 more because of leader effect, and we get to restand 2 Dawn. No, now we swing all 9 into face, restand 2 Dawn, and then we swing 10 into face, get them down to 1 life. They only have 4 potential attacks, and we get to rest 1 down. And we're staying on 2k, 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 1k. Like, I think that's just unbeatable at this point. They're going to minus it by 1. They have not leader effects. They're going to divine departure and then 2k to get out of it to not go down in life. I think we just passed. We're sitting on a blocker. We have an entire full board. One of their things is frozen. We get to rest one of their things down. So if they swing with the Law first, we rest down the Shanks. They lose their biggest attack. We have so much counter. We have 2 blockers in hand to hide behind, so we need to remove our Tashigi and X-Drake before we remove the Zoro and Bonney as counter. Tashigi obviously is one of the better of the 2Ks. So they play Beckman, that's going to trash our Bonney. Now they get to remove our blocker. So then they could just swing like into, remove that, which I really just don't think we'd care. We could also just save it. We really could just save it at that point, because then they can only swing 5. It depends on, I guess, what they swing. If they go 10, we could 2K, 2K, 1K, and then they could swing 8 with leader. We would technically lose it then. If only we had a 10 cost to a Flamingo. If only we had an 8 cost Mihawk as active, it would force them into certain actions. If only, but I don't think we needed it. I really don't think we need it this turn, because they have to decide if they want to just swing really big in a Cavendish, because we could save that technically, which I don't think we would, because we're not trying to play big body. Like, we have big bodies to play at this point anyways, so I think we're just going to swing out, freeze down a body on the board, like go from there kind of thing, because I'm definitely going to freeze down this law. As soon as I can freeze down this law, we're good. We are Gucci. Gucci main, Gucci main. Then we can play Bonney. That means we can start tapping out all the way and play Zoro. We can play Tashigi, Zoro, and Bonney. They can't remove our blockers. We have anti-removal. We have blockers. Like, got everything. We got everything there. I wish I could tell you what we could do, but someone's taking a little bit. Hey, I get it. Need some time to think. All right, they're going to go 10 into 8. We're going to go and rest down the law. The question here is, would I rather save Cavendish or Mihawk? And I think with the amount of blockers we have in hand, we don't need the attacker here out of the Mihawk, but restanding the Dawn may be good for efficiency. Then we can play Bonney and then restand the Dawn after to not really lose any value. So I think we could actually let Mihawk go in this situation because we don't need it. We have saviors in hand. Like, we have more blockers, but we don't have more Cavendish, but we don't have 8K blockers. See, the thing is, I'm looking for attackers though, not blockers. So I think that's why we let the Mihawk go. Then when they swing 8 into the Cavendish, we 2K, 2K, because I think we can hide behind the blockers with enough pressure and leader effect, right? So they're going to go 8 into the Cavendish or the Carrot. We're going to obviously not let that go. We're going to do exactly as we said, 2K, 2K to get out of it, saving our 2 blockers in hand. Because in that situation, let me teach you about the top deck, son. Let me teach you about a thing called top deck. Sometimes you just top deck the right card. Sometimes you just get exactly what you need. We're going to go 6 in a leader and 2 Dawn. We were perfectly safe there, though, because we had 2 blockers to hide behind. Then we were just going to go like 7, or no, I guess it would have been 7, 7, 7, 10, and still had a Dawn active in case they were able to remove the Bonney. Because they could play removal, KO Bonney, and then we don't get our Dawn back, so we had to leave a Dawn no matter what. Now our opponent's going to take the 6K. All right, we're going to go 7 into face. We go 8 here? No, that would be so greedy. Freeze down the Sanji, and then we're going to go 10. So they would need double rush here, and that double rush would have to be really freaking good. We're gonna go 10 into face. They already leader affected, actually. We didn't need to go 8. We go 10 into face, pass. So all they have is 1 attack. They would need double rush here, so that would be at least 3 Dawn and 3 Dawn. If they're playing 2 Zoros, and then they're swinging 5-5, so it would be 7-7-7. We already have a 2K, 1K in hand. 3 rush doesn't even get them there. They have to go triple rush with the mid Beckman. Dude, my nose hairs are killing me. They have a KO Shanks, they had a rush Shanks, they had a Lucky Roo to hide behind in a Hongo, but none of that got them what they needed. Could have played Lucky Roo, like Chards, and go from there. Swing Beckman first, of course. Then if we can save the character, they kind of hooked at that point. So, hey, GG's to the Shanks, we're on to the next match. There's a reason people aren't playing Shanks right now. Green on green action here. Green Zoro versus Green Bonney. This is not a great match for our opponent, especially if we can chain those 10 Costo Flamingos. As long as we can keep our board alive, we're good. This card, horrible in this match. Mulligan as soon as possible, in my personal opinion. If you think I'm wrong, let me know down below that I'm wrong, because I don't think I'm wrong there. We have the Bonney that's going to save us from the Cavendish swing. We're going to rest down the Tashigi. Carrot's really good in this match as well. I would love to freaking see a Carrot sometime soon. That would basically just be exactly what we need. They're going to look at the top 5, grab a slash type card or green event. That's going to help them search and find the cards that they need, which is a good start for our opponent. We're going to have to swing into that for sure. Luffy's the man will become king of the pirates. This is a pretty good card. That is a pretty good card. We're going to go and remove this Hiyori. We're not going to let them draw more cards. That card would get them way too much value. So you always remove these little 1-cost tap searchers, the cards that tap themselves to search the top 5. Always get them off the board. There's never a world where they save them. We're going to play out Bonney. We're going to pass. If they rest down Bonney to leader effect and do all that stuff, like, we really don't care. If they're going to give us a whole Koina just to get rid of Bonney, sure. They don't really have anything else other than Koina that would do anything to Bonney at this point, unless they're running like the weird engine that we don't know about. They are going to have the Koina here. So that's not the greatest start for us. Now they get to give 3 Dawn to their leader. Of course, they're just playing on easy mode. Rest down your character, attack it. Then I'm going to rest down your character and attack it. And then I'm going to rest down your character and attack it. So we're going to gain an active Dawn. No card action to use. We're just going to let that go. 8k into 3k. You got it. You get to just take a card out of my hand. And then 8 into face here. Remove the Koala later, though, which is nice. Not even worth using leader effect. There's nothing to leader effect here. But then we're just going to go 5 into Koala. And then we're going to tap 5 for Cavendish. I wish we had a Koshiro here. Koshiro would be clutch because we don't need our leader effect in this situation. So we just need a blocker to save the Cavendish. We ain't got that. So they're going to Tashigi. We're going to have to save our Cavendish after this with our Dawn. We get to rest down their character. Then we need to find something to freeze their characters. For real, that would be clutch. Like, that would be like the thing we're looking for. We need to see a carrot as soon as possible. So we're going to 2k 1k to save the Cavendish. 2k 2k to save a Cavendish for later in case they remove our Cavendish later. They Koala. Koala rests 4 costs. So that does nothing for them right now. That's actually really good. Think they're going to forfeit. I really think they're about to forfeit. They give the 3 Dawn to the leader, and then swing really big at us. Like, I think that's fine. They play Koshiro. Alright. Alright. I think they just gave the Koala. Why'd they play out Koshiro first? We have our leader effect. I'm gonna play this fairly, as if they didn't misplay, because playing out this blocker is not the right choice here, and I'm not gonna punish them for that. I'm gonna play as if they did play correctly, because they should not have done what they just did. Like, what they just did not make sense, like, to be honest. So we're gonna act as if they didn't just completely butcher that one, and then we're gonna go, then at the end of your turn, restand at Dawn. Then we can Cavendish into Zoro. So we can go X-Drake, rest Koshiro. We can go 6 into Koshiro, restand 2 Dawn. Then we can go 5 into Koala, and then we can play Zoro, which can't be rested by our opponent's effects. So we have a blocker to get out of the attack into the Cavendish. That's clutch. That's top deck you don't ever seen. Then we get to restand at Dawn at the end of our turn, so our X-Drake at least puts our leader ability back as active. Granted, it doesn't do much in this situation, but we get to restand at Dawn. That Mr. Pow Dawn, that beautiful gold Mr. Pow Dawn that we're all looking for. When is this coming out in packs? When are we getting a Mr. Pow card? Like, what are we doing out here? What are we doing? They're going to an 8 Dawn turn. They could Mihawk into something. It seems like they're playing really bad on curve. So they Cavendish, restand 2 Dawn. Then they could Tashigi. Tashigi would be pretty good here, actually. If they could Tashigi to follow up the Cavendish, they'd be in a pretty good spot. We are going for straight board control, so we would Hody Jones. We're sitting on a lot of counter. They're going to Hiyori, so they're missing their pieces, which we can... I think you can see that. I think you can see they're really missing their pieces here. If we're going to Hody Jones, I think we're going to counter out of the Cavendish swing, block out of the leader swing. I think if we're planning on doing the Hody Jones, that is the best choice, just to be honest. Now, they grab a Tashigi. They finally find the Tashigi that they've been looking for. They're going to go 8 into Cavendish. We're going to 2k 1k. I guess we're going to leader effect, because butcher that one. You kind of do it in that order, which I get to do the way they want. I mean, they could have just swung the 8 first, but they were looking for their options first. Then we're going to 2k 1k. Tashigi does absolutely nothing in this matchup. Since we're going to Hody Jones and take a life, we're going to actually block out of this next attack as well, because I don't want the Zoro to hit my life. We're going to take our own life here, because we don't really have much else to play on curve. So we're going to get rid of the blocker. Perfectly fine with that. I think Hody's just the play every single time. So we can go 5. I think Hody's just always the play here. We don't even have anything to rest. We're just going to take a life to hand, and then swing 5 into Hiyori. We're going to go 8 into Cavendish, then restand 2 Dawn. And then we're going to go 8 more into Cavendish. And then we're just going to go a little 5 into face. 6 into face now. 6 into face, they're going to probably take, because they have a really small hand size and they haven't taken 1 life yet. We're still sitting on a ton of counter, and we have the Mihawk to follow up on the next turn. Mihawk into Bonney for sure. That's going to give us double blockers. I like that. That is what they call cooking. That is what they call cooking up. They're going to give us a 2k counter. We're going to go 8 in a face here. We know they have a restand event in hand still, so we got to keep that in mind. A restand event and a Tashigi. They're going to Tashigi this turn, I'm assuming. They could Mihawk into Tashigi. That'd be really good. That'd be a really good follow-up for our opponent. As long as they do things well, then they'd get their Mihawk rested, which would not be good for our opponent, because then we get the leader effect. So that's where the order of operations here for Zoro is weird. They have to Tashigi, right? Then they get the 3 rested Dawn. They get to put that on something, or on their leader. They don't have another 5 cost. They could play a Cavendish maybe. That's not great. It's not the greatest I've ever seen. Or they probably go 8 into Cavendish, I would assume. We're going to rest down Tashigi. Would we ever... It depends on what they swing in a Cavendish to know if we'd save it or not. Because we are going to go down immensely in life here. If they could go 8. They could technically go 8-8-8, right? They double Koshiro. Interessante. They're blockering up. They're, 9 into Cavendish, I'd assume. I guess they want us to rest the Koshiro. I think we rest the Dashiki no matter what. Hoping for a carrot. We're never going to swing board here. Would we ever swing board? So we Mihawk into Bonney. That doesn't really get... I think we rest the Dashiki. The Koshiros are going to block no matter what, though. Because we're not really worried about applying pressure to face. I just want to get more cards out of the hand, I feel like. No blocker, 2k counter. Since we're going to hide behind 2 blockers here, I think we're perfectly fine to 9k. I don't love the idea of taking a 9. I would love to counter out of it, but I think since we're going to get out of this, or since we're going to play double blockers, technically we can play triple blockers, which is kind of absurd. Technically we have a follow-up turn after this, a really strong follow-up turn to say the least. Now we could Bonney now. Do we ever Bonney now and then Cavendish, or do we Cavendish, worry about Bonney later? I think we can Cavendish first, not giving them everything we're going to do. So that's going to give us another rested card anyways, even though we unrest 2. That's still going to be 5 just from the Bonney herself. And then this is going to be 6, 7, 8, 9 technical rested cards. Just trying to make sure we get that draw 2 trash one as well. Because now we could technically go... We're going to go 7, 8. They just let it go. So we're just going to go a bunch of 5s. Because now we can... Well, we can hide behind 2 blockers, but I don't think that's ever worth it. They are bricked up. They have had a really bad pool, to be fair. Now I think we just go 7, 8. They probably take the 7, block the 8, I would assume. I think you block this for sure. Just get out of it. No reason to take this. They don't. They just take it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is going to be 5. Then we technically have 7, 8, 8, 9. Whatever that is. Draw 2. We're going to trash Bonney, I think. So we can hold the carrot for later. And then we're going to restand to Dawn. So we have our leader effect as active. And then pass to our opponent. So we're hiding behind double blocker, Sounder. Our opponent just passed back to us on accident. We're going to give them the chance. We're going to give them the chance. Because they should have started their turn like this. Granted, now they get 1 extra card, but we have Hody Jones. I don't think there's a way out. Accidentally misclick. So I always pass it back. I just trust that they're not going to play the card that they just drew. Of course, that's just not fair. But we're trying to be fair here. Trying to be fair. Hiyori. What are they searching for? More restand events? It's more restand events. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Technically, you could only go 7, 7, 7. We can get out of a 7, block a 7, block a 7. They can't restand. That doesn't bother us. I think Hody Jones is just going to be the play. They grab Shimatsuki Kozabura. The 2k counter there. They can't swing our board, though, because they cooked themselves. They're going to go to Shigi. They're going to rest down. I would assume Cavendish. Drake. Okay. Going on leader. I think if we're going to Hody Jones here, I think we just let X-Ray go. Because we're going to let the X-Ray go. We're going to take the life. Then we're going to Hody Jones. Let that go. They're going to restand. We're going to block and counter 1. No, we're just going to take. We're going to restand the Zoro. We're going to swing 8. We're going to take. And then I think we're just going to block and counter 1. And then we just Hody. Rest, rest. We're just going to go a bunch of 7s. All in the face. It's just guaranteed lethal at this point. Because 7's going to be 2 cards. And then 7's going to be 2 more cards. And then 8 is going to be 2 more cards. And then 8 is guaranteed to hit. Or then 5 is technically guaranteed to hit with leader. And then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, everything's guaranteed after that. So it's just guaranteed lethal, not even needing the extra 4 Dawn. We're going to use them, of course. GG's to our opponent. Technically, even if they were to somehow get out of this, we can go Koshiro, double blocker. And they cannot win with a Tashigi, a leader, none of that. So, just be wraps at that point. We're going to go 8 in the face. Again, just save your extra Dawn if you don't need it. We could go 9 here, get 3 cards out of hand. I mean, since we're guaranteed going for lethal, probably would be smart to go for the 9s. But I'm trying to think of if we wanted to hide behind the blockers, but we really don't need to. We just go 9 to face now. 9 is going to get 3 more cards or nothing. They don't have anything. 1k in hand. GG's to our opponent. I feel like that was just a tough pool for our opponent, to be honest. I don't think Hody Jones would have ever played a role in there. I don't think Mihawk really plays a role there. I don't think they were in a great spot. It's nice because our leader effect kind of stops their leader. Like, you played Shigi, you get to swing into one of our bodies, but then we rest down your Tashigi, and then we carrot freeze it, or we just continue to go really wide, like with the Mihawk nowadays. I think we just had them against the wall, I felt like the whole time. I think there was a few lines that they could have done a little better, but other than that, it was a good game. Let's try to take on the Silver's Rayleigh. Silver's Rayleigh is an interesting match. Double carrot is kind of blasphemous. Our opponent chooses to go first, we're going second. Do we ever Pedro? This is so good and so bad, man, because we have nothing to do early other than just swing big into our opponent. I don't love that. We're going to keep it anyways. I'm ballsy, dude. Carrot, double carrot into Pedro into double carrot is crazy. One second here. I am actually just going to pass. I am not going to Koshiro. Koshiro sounds nice, but with their leader effect, they're able to make this into a 4K really easily and then just attach a Dawn to go 5. So now we have the ability to rest down the one of the attacks instead. So we can rest down the new Nami that they just played. They're playing a Straw Hat package. They're playing a strong Straw Hat package. We're going to rest the Nami that they did not play this turn, the other one, and then take, because we did not have a 2K counter. Going into 4 Dawn here. I think I'm just going to swing 6 into the Bonney and play out Koshiro, because we want our leader effect active every single turn. So Pedro, he ain't cooking up like we want him to. But we now have anti-removal on the board, which is always nice for our slash attribute characters. Granted, we have no slash attribute characters to play out. Next turn, we're going to play Carrot into a bunch of other things. We're going to rest down the Nami. 5 into us, we're going to up the Pedro, because we don't need Pedro at this point. We can go Mihawk into Carrot. That doesn't help us much. They have Conqueror's Hockey, which is the minus 1,000 across the board, and the Unblockable. So we do know they have Unblockable here. Cheating out the Sanji, attaching it on the leader. Not that it really, would have actually kind of, in this situation especially. We can just go 5 into Nami, develop a blocker, but that's not great. I think we just do no effect for the Carrot. I think that's just, we just clear it now instead of having to clear it later and pass. I would love to have not had to do it that way, but just knowing how wide they can go with these 1-cost characters, next turn we could have only froze one of these characters and attacked into one and attacked into another. Now we have the ability to do a lot of different abilities. We're going to stop the Luffy because he gets a plus 2,000 for just having to attach Dawn, and then we're going to go ahead and counter for a 2K here to get out of the attack. Now, opponent's playing another Luffy. They're revealing the same 2 events we've already seen, Unblockable and the Conqueror's Hockey to cheat out another Sanji. Lanta. Oh my lordy lord. They're going to reveal the same events, do the same things, and then buff up a character on the board, I guess, which I guess they could have gone bigger with the Sanji earlier, but that doesn't really do much for them. I'm not 100% sure. They're going to swing 9 at us. We're actually just going to take that because we're hiding behind blockers at the moment. Ooh. I'm going to go, do I ever even knock out the Sanji? I probably should. 5 into Sanji just to go ahead and remove it off the board. We're going to go 6 in the face, freezing down the Luffy. We're going to go with the 8 cost, restand 4 Dawn. And then we could Tashigi here, but that's not the greatest play. Pedro's not the greatest play because we lose our leader ability. But we do get a blocker that's going to remove a body instantly. So it's like having removal almost. So I actually am going to tap out here completely to play the Pedro in this specific situation, because now we have a character frozen. When they attack, we get to block out. So basically, we take the Luffy attack, we block out and pop the Sanji, or vice versa. If they attack with the Sanji first, it's actually technically incorrect. They're going to play Armament Hockey. It's going to give plus 1,000 to give them an extra power boost. They're going to play the Rush Zoro here. They're basically just going to really attack in, it looks like. They're going to give plus 2,000 power to the Sanji. They're basically just, they're like, hey, if you're going to tap out, I'm going to go wide and strong. And they have. They've done it very well. Now they're going to look at the top 4 cards for a red character with a cost of 3 or more, which is going to be the Luffy. Or they could have grabbed a red event, but obviously they don't need events at this point because they still have the Unblockable and the Conqueror's Hockey. They're trying to take advantage of the Unblockable later on. They're going to swing in with Luffy first. We're going to just go ahead and block out of that because it's a 7K attack. We can get out of it very easily. And then they can attack in with the Sanji. They only have the Zoro, which is a 5K. Attacking with the 8 first is kind of weird to me. We're going to go and counter with a 1K here for the 5K attack. Then they're going to swing in for, what is this? I'm actually going to block out of the 9 and then go ahead and KO Luffy here. Go ahead and remove it off the board. Then they can swing the 8 into Carrot, in which I will block out of that as well because we can hold on to these blockers. We have more Carrots coming down this turn. So we're actually in a fairly good spot. So we can Carrot freeze a character. So we can go 6 into the Sanji here. We can then freeze the Luffy. We're trying to just pop the Sanji off the board. We can go 5 in a face because we can freeze down the Zoro. So now we're going to tap 5, freeze the Zoro. We're going to tap 5 for this Bonney now that we have enough rested cards. Draw 2 and then trash 1. In which we're going to drop the... I think we dropped the Bonney. I don't know what supernovas we need other than 8 cost. I don't think we're going to find that here. We potentially could. We just don't have the Cavendish. We kind of need the Cavendish, but we might need blockers. I feel the most confident dropping the Bonney here. And then we get to restand at Dawn for our leader effect. My cat is in my pants, like me for some reason. He popped the boa incorrectly to give 2 rested Dawn, so that was just wrong. I guess just so that we don't rest it down. We're going to block out for free because it's a 6K blocker into a 5K attack. If they play Rush, I'm okay with that because we do still have our Mihawk. They show us Conqueror's Hockey, and to never doubt that is power. That's perfectly fine. They cheat out the Sanji, they attach a Dawn, doesn't really matter. Play out Nami to search the top of the deck. Here's where they go really, really strong and why we need to hold the blockers in hand. Now they can just play over their characters and not really feel horrible. They could actually play over these characters because they're going to be frozen down from the 2 Carrots. If they're not removing our Carrots like they should have been doing, they grab our Radical Beam, They have the Luffy now in hand, the 2 cost. They should just play over the Zoro here, technically. That would be the correct play. They attach an additional Dawn. Another carrot's crazy, but it doesn't give us what we need. We're just going to be playing Bonney here, in my opinion. They leave 3 Dawn active. That's Radical Beam, Conquers Haki. I think we just swing 7 into face here, freeze down a character. We just need to have blockers on the board. I think we're legitimately just going to swing really freaking big. No, I don't think we're going to swing that big, though. We're going to swing 9, freeze down Luffy. I want to use the Radical Beam now. That's kind of my goal here. Go ahead and get the Radical Beam gone, because we got to freeze down both the bodies. Then we can play out the Bonney. We just have to be worried about them removing the Bonney. They get the Mulgun trigger. Wow. Does that ever change our lines now? Shigi would have been nice there. 4 attacks, we rest 1. They have unblockable. We have 2 blockers though, because we're gonna get the Bonney. I don't think so. We can only swing 7 here now, because we could go Cavendish, restand 2, and then play Bonney, because then Bonney will restand our Dawn. I think that's actually what we do. I think we just go 5. I think we have to go wide in case they do decide to go board control instead. So now we go Cavendish, restand 2, then we're gonna go Bonney and then pass. We're sitting on double blockers. This restands the Dawn is active on their attack. If they use an ability to remove the Bonney, we're actually in a pretty good spot there. Grab a Gum Mulgun. So they do have a Mulgun, minus 5,000, then KO at 2,000 power or less. So what they could actually do here is Gum Mulgun, minus down the power of our carrot, and then KO the Bonney, which would be an amazing choice. They could also pop the Cavendish here, minus 5,000. They just really don't want Cavendish on the board, which I understand, especially given the situation. Now they tap 2 for Boa, and then that's going to look at the top 5, grab a Monkey D. Luffy or a red event. Again, they still have Conqueror's Haki, Radical Beam, and 2 now unblockables. They give 2 Dawn now to the Luffy. Luffy's going to be swinging in as they're going to reveal 2 events from hand, so probably double unblockable or unblockable, and the Conqueror's Haki that we already know they have. Those would be the best choices here for Rayleigh to give us information on. They're going to be swinging 8 into carrot. They have not leader affected yet. So now we're going to Bonney, restand it on, use the card action. We're going to go and rest down the Sanji here, and then I think we're just going to block out, because at most this can be a 7. They're going to leave these Dawn active, so I don't think we're worried about it. I think we just block out here for free, because we don't have big characters to play at the moment anyway, so we don't need the Bonney for its ability. We don't have a 10 cost Flamingo in hand. Then they just pass, because if they swing 5, we just block for free, and they know that. Now the triple carrot action. Now we're just going to go 6 into Sanji, freeze down a Luffy. We're going to go and remove that off the board. Then we're going to go 5 in a face, because if they use Conqueror's Haki, we would have been in a good spot there. We're going to go 6 in a face to freeze down the other Luffy. Then we could have gone 7, I guess, but I don't think it might have mattered actually, but I don't think so. Carrot, Cavendish, pass. We're going to sit on 2 Dawn. He said brother. He said brother. Look at this. Brother. Yo, this just happens, dude. Sometimes the triple carrot's crazy. Carrot go crazy. Triple carrot do go crazy, my boy. They grab another unblockable event. So we know they have 2K, 2K, 2K Cocky now, because they have triple unblockable event and a Radical Beam. They're just going to swing really big. We're going to rest down the Shakuyaku. And I guess we just let the carrot go. We could block out to freeze the board, but I think we can just go for game, right? So we could block, but then we can't ever get out of it. I think we just let it go. I think we just have to let it go in that situation, because we're still freezing 2 characters already. Let me show you something even better. My man, let me show you something even better. Restand 2 Dawn. In the face, we're gonna freeze down the could have technically froze down the leader and froze down the whole board. I actually did that incorrectly. Fun fact, I did that incorrect, because we could have froze down the leader, could have froze down all these, and we could have froze down the Shakuyaku even. They're gonna Conqueror's Haki. They could rest the Dawn to lower down our leader's attack. That doesn't really matter, because we can just attach 1 Dawn and swing 5. We have the extra Dawn to do so. So it doesn't really matter at this point. They can 2K out with the unblockable, which we know they have, like film. They use the Radical Beam. Was I wrong? Was it not unblockable that they have 5 of? Because I know they have unblockable. I think you just lose at this point. I'm going to be honest, my friend. Rayleigh, that was a tough match, dude. Triple carrot is crazy. Into the 10 cost Flamingo. They go unblockable here. I think they're just going to... He's just showing 2 more unblockables, and then he's just going to swing, and then carrot, because I think he's really just hating on carrot right now. They're going to play Buggy. Look at the top 5 real 1 red event and add it to their hand. They're going to have a Conqueror's Haki that's going to give plus 2,000 and then minus 1,000 across the board, so we need to swing an 8K when we attack for our first attack to give less value. Now they're going to swing into our character here. We're going to block. Oh, wait, we can't block. Okay, we're going to let it go. We were actually going to let it go. They had 2K, 2K, 1K, and then a 3K. So what we were going to do is just swing 10. That would be minus 3K, 2K, 1K, 1 card in hand. 8 is guaranteed after that. Well, then it would be 7 technically because it's minus 1,000. 7's guaranteed. Still had more carrots in the last carrot in life. Sometimes you just pull better than your opponent. That's what we did right there. Hey, GG's. Bonney is just the best deck in the format. Like, you can do about it. All right, last match is going to be right here. Our 4th match and final match is going to be against Koala. They get to choose curve, so they're always going to take second if they know how to play. I think it's pretty simple for Koala here. Just take second, as you always do. Carrot has absolutely no ability in this game. It's nice going 1, 3, 5, 7. We have a perfect curve there, but Carrot is miserable in this match especially, so nothing to do there. We are going to Bonney now. I don't think we're ever worried about Tashigi. I don't think we ever play Tashigi later, so we can Bonney, swing 6, have leader ability, look at the top 5, do all those things, yada yada, whatever. It's definitely not a bad spot to be in. Now we get to look at the top 5, get to find something. We could have played the Bonney here, but they get value out of Hawk then, just KO in the Bonney, and I don't really want that. I'd rather find something like Cavendish here, which we will find. Then we could have grabbed another Supernova to look at the next top 5 and then guarantee that we have +1 on the next turn, but I think just guaranteeing that we have Cavendish is the best choice. We could have swung 7 because they don't have any additional attacks actually, so that's what we probably should have done. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Sometimes you don't think, and hey, that's me, because they're just gonna swing 5 here and then play out a 4 cost. So we could have at least gotten a pressure on life. We got pressure on hand, got a card out of hand. No matter what, they were losing a resource, either losing a life or losing a card in hand. 5 here, yeah, you got it, no worries. Then they're going to play out a 4-cost Hawk more than likely. If they play Morley, that's not as good. Bello Betty. So they're going to play a 5-cost Nami after this. Probably KOing our Cavendish. So restand the 2 Dawn here. Is that much value? That good value. Is it better to go Bonney in this situation? No, it's never better to do Bonney. Restand 2 Dawn. Should we just swing 6 again? Get another 2k out of our opponent's hand. Depending on their build, they have more or less 2ks. They played a 2k out. They've already given us 1. I assume they take this or they double 1k. They're playing the Sabo. Okay, fine. Never mind, my man. Never mind. They should 5-cost Nami here, KO Cavendish, and then not even worry about swinging Bello Betty. They swing lead. We rest down Bello Betty. We attack Bello Betty. We lose our Cavendish. They go Karasu. Interessante, amigo. I wish this was not an 8-cost. That's absolutely absurd. They didn't want us to rest down their Karasu. I understand what they did there. Pretty good plays there by our opponent. We can go Bonney for 3, and then Bonney again. So that's 3, and then swing Cavendish, restand 2, and then tap 5. That'd be 5, 1, and then leader being rested, so we have to swing just a 5. So we're gonna go 5 in a face, then we're gonna Bonney, then we're gonna Cavendish, and then we're gonna draw 2 trash 1. We have the 9-cost Shanks, which actually is not horrible in this match especially. So we're gonna go with the Bonney next, swing with the Cavendish, restand 2 Dawn. If my math's right, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll have 6 rested cards here. So now we can Bonney properly, draw 2, and then trash 1. 8-cost Kid is actually pretty good in this match from what I remember. 10-cost Dofi is also good because they go wide. I think these both out-trump the Shanks every single time. But Shanks on curve could be good to remove Karasu. So I think we just drop Carrot and then restand a Dawn. Technically, I guess we could have swung 7 there because we restand the Dawn with Bonney. It is what it is. Could Koshiro instead here, but I don't think that's worth it. They could rip our hand completely. They don't have a good 6-cost in the trash, though, for the dragon play. So Sabo would be the only thing to play out. Sabo's a 6-cost blocker. We don't really care about that. They're going to go ahead and see. They can't swing Bello Betty first, and they just showed us they want to commit the Bello Betty. So we're going to remove that from their ability, unless that was part of their game plan. Maybe that's part of their game plan. Maybe they're trying to lower their cost. What would you lower the cost for? 4? And then we just leader effect. What do they do? Trash 2 cards from the top of your deck? Oh, they just want to trash cards. Well, we're going to Bonney, because we get to restand it on, then use the card action, rest the Karasu so we don't have to discard cards, because I don't really want to discard cards. They were just trying to fill up the trash for the dragon. Now they play out Sabo. Ooh, 5-cost and a 3-cost. So they're going to KO both the Cavendish and the Bonney here. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, man. We're going to go ahead and take that 5k at us. Filling up the hand size, because we have so many options here for sure. This does nothing in this match, especially. The play ever just swinging into the Bello Betty here. So it's a good 9-cost Shanks, the Karasu, but I don't think that's great value. We could 8-cost Kid, cheat out Koshiro, but I don't feel that that's great value either. We could 8-cost Kid, cheat out Tashigi because we already have a blocker and stop more removal from happening. That's kind of good value, but then we're only going 5 in a Bello Betty. I don't hate 5 in a Bello Betty no matter what. No matter what, even if we froze it down with Carrot. At this point, just being able to get cards out of hand is always going to be good. We don't need to pressure face too much. I just think hiding behind this Kid's going to be pretty good, especially when we 10-cost on the next turn. Then having Kid, well, then we can't Kid if we 8 without the Cavendish on the board because we did lose the Cavendish. So we're not going to be able to 10-cost properly, so we're going to have to 9-cost Shanks on the next turn, which is still good because we can remove Sabo and still have Kid active and then restand the Don with the Bonney. So the goal here, we're going to play an 8 cost. We take a life to hand, but we're okay with that. That just gives us more resources. Honestly, they should almost choose not to. So you want to give me a life? Give me a life. Like, I'm actually not against it, especially because the 8 cost kid, we're going to be able to hide behind really aggressively. We're going to rest it down. The answer is Koshiro here, or do we cheat out Tashigi? I honestly think Tashigi. How many 2Ks do we have? We have 2 2Ks. Yeah, I think Tashigi's just the answer here. And then pass, because we don't know. They're already running a removal package that we've seen. They have the Bello Betty lower cost, so they could almost remove Kid. They could Bello Betty -2 cost. Do they have a way to remove a 6 cost? Not really. They can remove 5s like crazy, but not really a 6. And that saves our Bonney as well, so they couldn't remove Bonney without resting Tashigi. See? Right choice. Correct choice here. So Tashigi's going to save both. That's going to leave our leader ability as active, because now when they attack, rest down their other characters here. So I think actually Tashigi was the right choice. We've seen the 8 cost a couple times. We have to trash a card in hand, which is going to be the 5 cost here. We're going to restand it on. We're going to use the card action. I think we're going to rest down the, because we can just give them a 2K. We can rest down the Betty, then we could 10 cost and freeze all 3. We could rest down the leader so they don't draw cards. I actually like resting down the leader here. We're going to let that go, and then we're just going to give them a 2K. Because if we 10 cost, we get to freeze the whole board. We don't get to use our kid, but that's okay. We can give them the 2K here. We can block out. Maybe it wasn't smart because they had the 2 additional Dawn. I don't think we care. I really don't think we care. I think we can just counter. 2K, 1K. I think that's perfectly fine. Do we ever just swing 8 here and then play 9 cost? Let's swing, because we can always add the extra Dawn after, because if it's Waxing Fist with the 1 Dawn, no matter what they get out of this. So no matter what, we would attack the cross suit anyways. Then we can decide if we want a 9 cost or 10 cost. If they save this, tells us what to do. So now that we know they didn't save it, we're going to 9 cost, and then we're going to swing. So we're going to swing 5 in the face. That's going to get 1 card or take their life. We're going to 9 cost, and we're going to take a life. That's going to add another card to our hand, but we're going to remove their body. We don't care about 5Ks because we're going to have Kid live. We're going to attach the Dawn now onto the Kid. Give us the card in hand. We're going to be sitting on 2K, 2K, 1K, and whatever this life is, and a blocker. So we should be perfectly safe here, especially having the blocker alive and being able to restand the Dawn. This blocker's dude is doing work. Brother, this thing is doing work. Immense work here. Like, I was underrating the value of this card. I may become a Bonney player again. I may be playing Bonney. Carrot in hand, sure. I ain't mad about it. Pass. If you can remove the Bonney, puts them in a better spot. But even if they can, like, only have, you know, 1 big attack in a kid, and then we could technically 10 cost to a Flamingo. My cat's attacking me. He's trying to say what's up. Them not using the dragons is kind of nice for us, but they just haven't seen what they really needed to. We're going to go 5. That doesn't make sense. You have to swing the Sabo first. And then do we ever stop them from drawing cards, or do we stop them from Bello Bettying? I still just don't think we're worried about Bello Betty, because they can make this into a 6 cost. If they're running Timpiskick, they're running Timpiskick, bro. If they got Timpiskick ready, and they have it in their 3 cards in hand, and we haven't seen one all game, like what they're doing. But I don't expect to see a Timpiskick. If they can Timpiskick and Bello Betty and remove Kid, that's on me. That's on me type shit. Yeah, I would not be excited to see that. They're gonna go 10. We're gonna go ahead and restand the Dawn, use the card action. We're gonna rest down the Koala leader. No blocker. We're just gonna 2K, 1K. We're gonna keep the blockers in hand because we don't need Carrot. Like I said, it doesn't do anything in this match. We could freeze down Akuma. Oh, wow. Now they're going to go Dragon. They're going to cheat out Blocker. Probably Hawk. Hawk, I think, would be the best blocker to cheat out. 10 cost Doflamingo is not getting a lot of value here, is he? Not getting a ton of value here, are we? Are we? Imagine double 8 cost Kid. Imagine double 8 cost Kid. Because 10 cost Doflamingo is not doing much work. Do we just double Blocker and then just swing in pretty big? Because we're losing the Bonney no matter what, because the Hawk's going to pop the Bonney. Do we ever just swing 11 here, and then they block, and then we go 3 Dawn, and then swing 11 here? They give us 2 cards, potentially. They have 1 Dawn active. That tells me they're still holding up for Waxing Fist. Then we couldn't 8 cost, we couldn't do another 8 cost Kid if they did do that. But then we could Koshiro and Zoro still. So it'd still be safe. We would just be getting cards out of hand. Is that much value at this point? I don't think so. I think the pressure's on face. I think the pressure's on face more than board, knowing what we have in hand, because we can still Koshiro and hide behind our blockers. I don't think the answer is ever 10 cost. Then they can just attack us, and we're only freezing down 2 characters. They still have 4 swings after that. Let's just go 5 in the face, and then decide. Because at the end of the day, I can swing bigger, but I might not, right? Right? They take that. I'm going to get value out of this Bonney right away. So I could go 7 and then tap 2 for Koshiro. I can still attach Dawn here. We're only hiding behind 1 blocker next turn. We're going to hold the 2K counter in hand. We're not really worried about playing Kid. So I think I actually am going to cash in on this blocker since they're going to remove it and hit 7. Because we already have all these big attacks, right? So we can still have 2 Dawn. We can put 1 Dawn on Kid and go 9 and then 11. They Waxing Fist out of this. We knew they had the Waxing Fist the whole time. So now what we could do is 3 Dawn. So now we could go 11 into Sabo. See what they decide to do. Now they block out and pop the Bonney. Now we still have the 3 Dawn to attach on a Kid. And then swing 11 more into Sabo. They can counter out. Good for them. If not, no matter what, we were going to do the same thing. I don't really need to get them to 0 life though, because we have the board built and they can only attack Kid. So now we can hide behind a blocker and a 2K, so they have to attach a bunch of Dawn. They can't remove both of our bodies at that point. So then they have to play blockers and remove Kid at the same time. So they can 2K, 1K, we Koshiro and then pass. So they were able to get out of it with a 2K, 2K there, but I still don't think that's the wrong play line. If you can remove it, it's good. If not, I managed to lose on the clapback here because they swing into, swing. We rest this, no blocker, 2K counter. And then it's like, what, you go 9 more, you go 10, I guess, I don't know, 3, 8, 3 Dawn, 8, so we just block, and then they have to go 3 more Dawn. No matter what, they can never hit the Shanks here, so we just block out of this. They would need to have a blocker right now. They would need a blocker to get out of this, because we have another 8 cost Kid coming if we need to. 5 and a face and draw a card, that would just give us another card. I don't think that's right. Well, they could go 5 and a Kid. They can only attack Kids. That just gets with our Koala effect. I like how I didn't even mention that earlier. So they're going to remove the Koala first. Just, we had a 1K here, dude. They're cooked. If we had double 1Ks, they're just cooked. But now they, like I said, they just can't remove our Shanks. They're going to try to draw into some kind of blocker, but they had to commit more Dawn here, so they can't play a 4-cost blocker. They would need to find a 3-cost blocker, which would only be Emporio Ivankov. And from the package I've seen so far, I don't think they're running Emporio Ivankov. So I think it's just guaranteed lethal at this point. They can swing 5 in a face, we take, and then we just swing into face the Shanks, and then everything with leader. GG's. Like, I just don't think there's much else. That, unless they're playing some random 1-cost blocker we don't know about, they are not. We're going to go 11, and then we're going to go 15. It's just guaranteed lethal. 11 is guaranteed, because even if they had the 4K, they were fine. What the hell?